A bishop's assistant takes a stand for truth and spends his whole life defending it amid the political intrigue and turmoil of ancient Rome. Now that should be a movie. Hello, and thank you for watching today's episode of That Should Be a Movie. Today's story I'd like to pitch as a movie is The Life of Athanasius. A Sparks Notes version can be found in Contending for All, Defending Truth and Treasuring Christ, in the lives of Athanasius, John Owen, and J. Gresham Machen, by John Piper from Crossway Books. Athanasius lived from AD 298 to May 2nd, 373, and spent nearly his entire adult life defending the doctrines of Christ's deity and incarnation and the Trinity against Arianism. The story starts when Athanasius is just a young deacon and assistant to Bishop Alexander of Alexandria, Egypt, and attends the Nicene Council to combat Arius, another deacon whose followers marched the streets chanting, "There was a time when the sun was not," i.e., that Jesus was a created being and not fully God. The council disposed Arius and defined his heresy as teaching. Athanasius wrote the disposition. It is from this council that we get the Nicene Creed. 3 years later, Alexander died, passing the bishop and mantle of orthodoxy on to Athanasius, who eradicated Arianism from Egypt and used his empire-wide influence to fight heresy. This led to his first exile, when bishops, tired of his zeal, falsely accused him before Emperor Constantine. This would be the first of 5 exiles that Athanasius would have to endure during his lifetime, either due to his stance on the deity and incarnation of Christ, or because he rejected the pagan gods of Rome. Despite spending 17 years of his 45 years as Bishop of Alexandria in exile, the people loved Athanasius. His popularity became apparent when, during one exile, Bishop George began violently persecuting anyone who sided with Athanasius against Arianism. Many people were killed, and although George was lynched in 361, one has to wonder if Athanasius ever thought to himself, how many youth had to die for his stance on truth? A group that often helped Athanasius during his exiles were the desert monks. He had visited these ascetic practitioners of celibacy, solitude, and simplicity during his youth, and their example had set him on fire for God. One story is that one of the monks once prophesied that his exile would soon be over, and soon after that, Athanasius was allowed to return home. Another monk that captured his attention and affection was Antony. Antony actually went to Alexandria one time to dispel rumors that monks were Arian. Athanasius was so impressed by Antony that he actually wrote a book about him. This biography would later lead to the conversion of St. Augustine. Athanasius' story involves many historical characters and events. Emperor Constantine called for him to be put on trial. Bickering between Constantine's sons, Constantius, Constans, and Constantine II, often led to the beginning and ending of Athanasius' exiles. The murder of Constans, the fall of Emperor Julian in battle, and Diogenes' siege upon Alexandria in 355 are all intertwined with the story of the development of Christian theology. In some ways, an Athanasius biopic would fall under the category of cloak and dagger. If done right, the audience would be cheering Athanasius contra Mondum, the world against Athanasius, Athanasius against the world. An exciting story of an important but little-known figure in Christian history is why the life of St. Athanasius of Alexandria should be a movie.
Hi, I'm Jenny Chapman, here to give my thoughts on a film about St. Athanasius. First of all, yes, absolutely, any movie about an awesome saint, I'm always going to give a thumbs up to, especially one that we don't really know all that much about. This saint, this doctor of the church, this patriarch, he is one of the greatest defenders of the Christian faith that we know of, and why wouldn't you want to make a film about somebody who actively defends the faith against heresies such as Arianism? If you don't know what it is, that's why you should make a movie about it. Just saying. Those are my thoughts on the film. Be sure to check out Coming Back Stronger, one of the other films on That Should Be a Film.